it shows I took the blows and did it my way.
All right.
We'll have a prayer by Mr. Hunt, followed by music by Gerald Ruffin and Carla Murchison.
Let us pray. Yahweh, our Lord and our God, we want to thank you for this moment that we come to honor one of your servants. You said, give honor to whom it is due. We thank you for his presence and for what you have invited in his heart to do for the betterment of your people. We ask your blessings upon this gathering, upon those that have come to share near and far. Give traveling mercies and blessings and grace. We ask you, Lord, in the name of thy Son, Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, we pray. And all the people say, amen.
Thank you.
And the sweet light in his eyes shed enhance those awaiting. Yes, and we shall behold him face to face. We shall
Thank you to Gerald Ruffin and Carol Murchison. Carla Murchison, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Next we'll have speakers. We have 3 specific speakers that will come up and speak for 5 minutes. And if you notice on your program, a little later in the program, there will be an opportunity for others to come up and speak at a limit of 2 minutes each if you like, but we still have to make sure we control that. We don't have active guests. Okay, in exchange for your speech, you need to draw something on the table. That was added to the program. Okay. Is Miss Linda Bird Hardin present? Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Good job here, Linda. How beautiful you are. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is more than a privilege to be here today, for this is truly a wonderful, wonderful occasion. And as I stand here today, I can only reminisce about the times that my brother, King Salim Khalfani, and I shared in the fight for justice for our people. But in standing here today, something comes to mind as I listened to the beautiful song, as I looked around and I saw all the people that are here to honor what has been accomplished. And I say to myself that the true way to honor what someone has done for not just you or for one specific group of people is to take action. Come on. As Salim has stated over and over again, no participation, no right to speak. And the battles that we have fought, they may go unnoticed by so many, but those who have been touched need to recognize that you need to do more than clap your hands when something good happens. We need to recognize that we need to do more than come and celebrate what has done, because we are not going to ever be free until all of us are free. Now that may sound like a cliche to most of you, but we continue to fight the same old battles that our ancestors fought. We continue to forget that the people who have no vision will perish. And those are the words that kept us motivated during the most difficult time of the struggle, when we had to realize that it wasn't just the white man that was keeping us back, but it was some of us who were so jaded that we would rather crucify and punish ourselves than to stand up for what's right. We look for what's wrong with others as opposed to what's good with others. You know, some of you may know or remember that old movie called Soul Food, when the mother said, you know, it's easier to point your finger at somebody else, but when you recognize that you're pointing your finger at somebody else, there's a finger pointing at you. And as Michael Jackson said, if you want to make a change, start with the man in the mirror. Well, King Salim Khalfani decided that he was going to make a change. He didn't care who was holding him back. He didn't care who was with him or who was against him. He fought when he was too tired to fight. He fought when he was sick. So where was the rest of us? We don't want to celebrate somebody's accomplishments. Because why? Because if we point to what others have done, that gives us an excuse not to do anything. My 5 minutes must be up. We can't handle the truth. We went from the plantation of the fields to the plantation in the big house. We're so worried about keeping and maintaining a job that we don't want to stand up for what's right. We don't want to make the sacrifice. That's right, baby. So when somebody else decides that they're going to give everything they have, everything they have, sacrifice their life. You don't know how many times our lives were threatened. You have no idea. You have no idea what it does to a body to realize that the very people that you want to help want to crucify you. You have no idea what it takes to keep on fighting when you feel like everybody is against you. You don't know what it's like to stand up for justice and have have the very people that you fought for say, oh, she ain't about nothing, he ain't about nothing, he just trying to get in. So you're pulled back and forth between wondering, is some of it true? Do I not have a right to life and liberty because I fight for what's right? Must I give my whole being for nobody to really know what it's like to sit alone? To feel like the people that you fought for want to find what's wrong with you so they can go tell the man, thinking the man will give them some crumbs from the table. I don't know what it's going to take for each of us to recognize our potential. You know, they say that we only use 10% of our brain. Well, what would happen if we use 15? What would happen if there were more King Salim Khalfani? But I tell you today, there is only one. And the rest is up to you. You see, one thing my brother used to always tell me when I got tired. He used to always say, go ahead on, LB. Light it up. Do your thing, LB. The more you do your thing, the more attention comes to you because, see, the man recognizes, and that man doesn't have to be defined by gender or by color. That's right. The one thing that he knows, that if you cut off the head, the body will surely die. So if he can play with your mind, he can get you confused. If he can try to change the game in the middle of the course and throw you off, then you begin to question what game are you really playing, or do I really want to play this game? So I say to you today, my brothers and sisters, because time is running out, I say to Salim, my brother, you fought the good fight. Yeah. You recognize, well, you don't have to worry about what others say or what others do. Well, just like he used to tell me all the time, if you don't like the organization that you're in, then create a new one. Well, so I salute you, my brother, for having the courage, for having the audacity to continue to fight, because the struggles continue, my brother, and I am with you. Peace unto you.
Well. Thank you so much for showing that hard hearted. Thank you. Beautiful. Our next speaker, we have Mr. Salim. Give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon. We're gathered here to recognize and give thanks to our stand-up brother and friend, King Salim Khalfani, for his more than 25 years of protecting and defending the civil and human rights of people of African descent in the state of Virginia and beyond. I want to first thank you for coming and making a generous contribution to Salim. I also want to thank my fellow organizers, Reverend Rodney Hunter, Bernice Travis, Terry Dysick, Warren Kennedy, and Cheryl Jarrett for the time and dedication that they have given to make this event happen. One of the reasons that I was motivated to become involved in this effort was the unfortunate fact that as a people, we have a history of not protecting or supporting those who protect and support us. As a consequence, our freedom fighters have experienced poverty, neglect, and unappreciation. Take, for example, Brother John Mitchell, the former editor of the Richmond Afro and Planet. He spoke truth to power, and yet he died broke. The same is true for contemporary figures such as Alma Barlow, Oliver Hill, Sam Tucker, Curtis Holt Sr. Each of these people could have done well for themselves and their families if they went along to get along. But they saw a different vision. They saw a different responsibility. They saw a different role. And you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least and 10 being the most, we have a collective score of -1 when it comes to caring for and protecting those who made their life's work to speak truth to power in this country, which Brother Salim appropriately calls the United Snakes of America. We hope by honoring Salim today that we will begin to show that we care for those who care for us. Like many freedom fighters that come, Salim knew that he had to pay a high price for telling truth to power. Because those in power are quick to retaliate against those who call them out when their actions are contrary to the arc of moral justice. So he knew well what he was getting into, and he was willing to take those risks. But the risk that came was the risk that was within, not without. I would be remiss if I did not comment or talk to you about the mechanism that brings us here today, and the sad fact that the retaliation and disrespect shown to him did not come from the expected or usual source. You see, my brothers and sisters, it was not white power that turned the key on his NAACP office and locked him out. It was not the Ku Klux Klan who treated him like he was a common criminal and would not let him into the NAACP office that he occupied for so many years, representing our interests. It was not the White Citizens Council who told him he was fired from his NAAC executive position. It was not the Sons of the Confederacy who met in secret and assassinated his character and his integrity. The source of these cowardly, ill-conceived acts were generated and executed by those he spoke truth and power for, not truth. His source was misguided, misdirected, because a power-hungry NAACP president hijacked the executive committee and threw Salim under the bus, and we need to say that today. It was the NAACP's executive committee that acted like the Ku Klux Klan leaders who would come into the community in hoods in the middle of the night to lynch one of us because we were leading a voter registration drive in Chitlin Switch, Mississippi, or Hopewell, Virginia. And to add insult to injury, this was the same executive committee that sat on their hands for years doing absolutely nothing to support Salim and to support the legitimate issues that he raised in our behalf. This was not just an insult and injustice done only to Salim, and this is the tragedy. It was done by the executive committee of the NAACP to every person of African descent in the state of Virginia, because the hands that turned that key and locked that door and left it dark is still dark. 4 months and counting. 4 months and counting. And what right do they have to put our issues and our freedom and justice into limbo while they work out their individual selfish interests? Let's look at the issues that they're missing, we're missing, no one is speaking to today. 400,000 Virginians, the vast majority of whom look like and talk like us, will not get affordable health care because Virginia has refused to fund Medicaid for the poor. The renewed disenfranchisement of our right to vote through voter ID cards and various other ways to suppress our vote. See, because while we sleeping, they awake and they taken back. You hear that the Tea Party always talking about we're trying to take back our country? Well, it's going on, but we ain't got nobody at the helm. There's no truth being spoken to power. First Lady Michelle Obama recently announced that the public school segregation is alive and well 60 years after Brown versus Board of Education. If you read the Free Press this week, it talked about 1 in 8 children suffering neglect and abuse with the highest risk for children of African descent. And there's the increasing apartheid of public procurement programs at the state and local levels, where black-owned businesses are getting less than 1% of public contracts. And then we have our Richmond mayor who wants to desecrate and obliterate the site of the second largest market for the buying and selling of enslaved Africans in the United States to put a baseball diamond down there. And no one is speaking truth. Since I've only been given a few minutes for my remarks, I will end these remarks with three questions. One, how will we respond, if at all, to this act of treason, treachery, and disrespect? Two, is history going to write that we allowed this to happen on our watch and said it did nothing? Because I ain't heard nothing from y'all. Three, are our children and their children going to see us as cowards, chumps, and pathetic weaklings because we did nothing and said nothing about this travesty? Only you and I can decide how these questions are answered. And let me leave you with this quote from the cartoon Pogo, where Pogo said, "We have met the enemy, and he is us." Thank you.
Gerald Ruffin and Carla Murchison. We could listen to her all day, couldn't we? Give another round of applause. Thank you so much, Carla. You know, sometimes we do have to look to a higher power, whatever that means to you, because we can't do it all by ourselves. But we do have a task to do. And even when we ask or make requests from our higher power, we still have a task. So that means that we need to, again, think about coming together, look who's at the table, look who's sitting to your right and your left, and don't act the fool when you get out here and leave, blowing the horn and flying past everybody and being impatient. The attitude and the bridges you bridge in here, make sure you carry them once you exit. We're going to go ahead and move into our reflections, and we're going to invite others up to speak. And at some point, we'll pause and then have another musical opportunity. At this point, we'll start with Mr. Richardson. Is he available? And he'll be followed by Preston. One moment. Yes, and please respect the 2-minute time frame, okay?
Thank you. You would have to say that while I kind of with you. You all must know something about good evening. And I mean good evening because indeed it is a good evening. When you stop to take time to do something that is really essential, necessary, and appropriate, it is good. And for us to stop and say thank you, we acknowledge you, and raise the name of King Salim Khalfani is appropriate. It's long overdue, and he is an unsung hero that no matter what they have said about him, it has not been enough, because this brother was fighting when I was resting. This brother was fighting when Marty was resting, when Saad was resting, when we didn't even know there was a fight. Somebody said, who said something? King Khalfani said something. I'm reminded today of, I don't want to get too European on you, but I'm reminded of the play Hamlet. See, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortunes, or to take arms against the sea of trouble and by opposing end them. Now, Hamlet was caught in a terrible emotional problem where his uncle had killed his father to be with his mother. And Hamlet knew it, and he didn't know what to do. And he asked the question, what do I do? And that question is posed to many of you out here today, men and women. To be or not to be? That is the question. Do I be and stand up and take affirmative action? Or in the name of peace, do I be quiet? Salim is and decided to be, has been, and made a difference. And we in this room are asked that question every day. Are you going to be something, make a difference? Ask that philosophical question that Hamlet asked. To be or not to be? Our children need to see people like King Salim held high, because they need to know the difference between when you decide to be or when you decide not to be. It takes courage. It takes dignity. It takes a heart with pride. And Brother Salim has stood and still stands. Our children need to see those qualities of character that have nothing to do with building stadiums and downtown edifices and highways. They need to see a man who's building the character of human beings that say you need to stand up for your brothers and sisters. This man has stood, and I'm going to end it by telling you this, because our children need to see Salim. They need to see courage. They need to see a man who's fearless. They need to see someone who said, whether the cameras are on me or not, I'm going to say what's right, and that is what constitutes the dignity and the loyalty to a community that this man has met. And I'm reminded of the two preachers on an airplane from Richmond to Atlanta. When they crossed that Georgia line, the plane started shaking and the lightning and thundering. And one preacher grabbed the other one's hand and said, "Let us pray, brother." That was two male preachers, but it's much easier for this. He said, "Let us pray." When they got across the Georgia line, it was still thundering, and they were closing their eyes on hand. When they got over at the airport, the pilot came on and said, "We are over Atlanta, and we will be landing momentarily." And one preacher loosed his hand and said, "Wow." And the other preacher looked and said, "What you doing?" He said, "We're there." He said, "We have arrived, but we have not yet landed. We have not yet landed, my brothers. And we need to teach our children today. We haven't landed yet. We got a president that's black in the White House, but most of us haven't landed yet. We still face as many troubles today as we have ever faced in the history of African Americans in this country. Crime is up, but we got more policemen than we ever had. School, we got more officials than we ever had in school, but our children are still suffering." And I'm going to sit down and look. One more. You know, when preachers say, "I'm going to sit down," they don't mean immediately. But I'm going to sit down almost immediately and say that if I stood here another hour, it would still be insufficient to the task of singing the praise of this man, because we need more of them. I get tired. Marty get tired. Sarge get tired. He don't get tired. We need some more young folks to come up behind us, because the fight is not over. We have not yet landed, and we need to prepare for the long haul. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We need some of our black leaders in here today, because King Salim have helped all of them. Just Wednesday, a lot of people don't know, Wednesday we were down at the city of Richmond in the Department of Minority fighting to get money for black contractors. Now, I can't even build nothing, and I don't think he can build anything. But he's down with me and Earl Bradley fighting, even though he's not getting paid. And it was nasty, dirty, the way that the NAACP did King Salim. And you can talk about all you want. Right now, he needs some money. King Salim is on the radio every Monday at 5 o'clock if you don't know it. That's my radio station. You can catch me on Saturday nights and Monday mornings on CW Richmond. I have a TV show. We'll be bringing King Salim on the TV show to talk and we'll do a few things. But right now, we need to raise more money. You don't have to give it. Times are hard. Get on your elected officials that got money that they require to spend it or give it away. And all of them got thousands. I'm not just talking about 2,000, 3,000, 20, 30. A couple of them got $100,000 on better. They can donate money to King. All I'm saying to you today is, I ain't got nothing to say, but give the man some money. I'm going back to work.
Thank you, Mr. Pastor.
My name is Reverend Hassan Zarif. 1974, I was sentenced to life in prison, a four-way. King Salim Khalfani didn't see me as a four-way. And so he went to the parole board along with others and asked the parole board to release me. I have the distinguished honor of having the same amount of years of community service, because King Salim Khalfani was able to help to get me released from prison. We both have 25 years of community service. King Salim Khalfani dared to go over to the governor's office and say, this is a black man who was sentenced to life unjustly, and I would like to have this man pardoned. And the governor pardoned me from a life sentence. Yeah. But here's the key. I didn't ask him to go to the governor. I didn't ask him. We were just talking. And he said, I'm going to go and see the governor on Friday. I didn't know he was going to see the governor on Friday. But he says, I'm going to the governor on Friday. Can I take your file with me and show it to the governor? That's the type of man
King Salim Khalfani is. And the governor responded with a simple pardon. I go into more than 30 different institutions across the state of Virginia. I'm the first offender in the history of Virginia who became a chaplain at a prison. I am the first offender in the history of Virginia who will become a chaplain in a federal prison. I served nearly 40 prisons across the state of Virginia. And when I was dying last year in the hospital with a 769 blood sugar, King Salim Khalfani is one of the few people that came to the hospital and prayed with me and held my hand. So $1,000 is not enough.
Thank you. We're asking that you give. This is a fundraising event. We're still taking donations, and those who would like to send donations later in the week will still be receiving them here at the church. That's 1720 Mechanicsville Turnpike, 23223. Any other speakers? Anybody else like to come up? Okay, would you like to come, sir? We'll have 3 more following him, and then we'll go.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. My name is Donald Cash. I am your national board member from Maryland, national board member of the NAACP. First, I'd like to say that a lot's been said about my brother here. I agree with everything. I guess everybody's wondering how the national board feels about what has transpired here in Virginia. It's still being investigated. I work with Deborah Brown, who is Virginia's national board member. She has filed a complaint about how business was conducted a few months ago. One of the first signals that I saw that trouble was coming was, many of you all know Reverend Young, who was sick in the hospital, and this same group of people tried to oust him while he was in the hospital. And of course, National stepped in and revoked that. If you really don't like what has happened to our brother, then I would encourage all of you. There's one way we can fix this. I would encourage all of you all to join the branch of the NAACP. How many of you all in here are members of the NAACP? There you go. There's enough members in here to throw everybody out at the next convention. I'm serious. Those of you who are not members should join a branch, whether it be Chesterfield, whether it be Charlottesville, whether it be Richmond, and any other surrounding counties. You join your branch, $30, and you come to the convention. You only have to come to the convention that one day, and you show them that what they have done is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. The branch state conference, I should say, branches are doing very well here. The state conference is dysfunctional. And when it's dysfunctional, our people suffer. The work that we should be doing is not being done. And we need to fix that. So I need a commitment from y'all. We'll do what we got to do on the national board. And we have been looking at it. The next meeting is at the next convention, which will be next month. I'm sure that the units and branch membership will be discussing, because of the state of affairs that this conference is in. And when I say it is in bad shape, it is in bad shape. I think they're finally figuring out how important Salim really was. It's a shame that you got to leave before people find out how important he is to an organization. But I knew. Now, from my labor side, first of all, we got a lot of people from labor in here who love the brother. Would y'all please raise your hand, stand up, show Salim your love? UFCW is in the house, my brother, we love you. And I have to say a few words about him on the labor side. There was Salim, whenever workers were mistreated, we were contacted to see if there's anything that we could do to help the brothers and sisters who were being mistreated on the job. That's the kind of guy he was. He didn't have to call anybody. He didn't have to even get involved. But as you saw in this film up here, his work speaks for him.
Amen.
That's all he had to do. All you had to do is see this film, and you saw who my brother really is. Now, y'all make me feel a little bit embarrassed because I didn't give you enough money, brother. But when I get back to Maryland, I'm going to send you another check. And I'm going to see if we can raise some other money for you because you're well deserving of it. And if you really love him, then you would be doing something, you'd be digging in your pockets right now. You want me to give it now? Well, I could give you something now, but it ain't going to be what I'm going to send to you. So, get out and vote in October. Your convention, NAACP state convention, is coming up in October. And I would like to see all of y'all there. We will let you know what day the vote takes place. And all you got to do is come there and you can wear a hat saying, "I'm for Salim." Throw the bombs out.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, a few more. We have a note here from Lavaris Mickey Harris that I was asked to read. She's the Secretary Treasurer of the United Food and Commercial Workers, Local 400. Oh, okay. And she's representing nearly 40,000 workers from Maryland, West Virginia, Tennessee, Ohio, and Virginia. In Richmond, they represent Kroger workers, Tyson chicken workers, Elizabeth Crump nursing home workers, and Boris Head workers. And here's Boris Mickey Harris to minister.
This is for Brother King. First, let me say, as Don had already stated, anytime workers were treated unjustly, Brother Salim was always there. And he always reached out to us and asked us to help out. And one of the things that I could definitely say about him is that whenever my knees was wobbly and I was shaky, confronting the employer, I always could look to my left, to my right, and I could see Brother Salim there. And he had that look that said, "Don't worry, warrior, do what you gotta do." And that's what we did. We did what we gotta do, but we did it with King Salim standing beside us. So King Salim, I would like to present to you from Local 400 this plaque, and it's very simple, but it shows you that we appreciate you for doing all that you've done, and I know that you will continue to fight. And one of the things that I have to say before all of us here, and I'm a little nervous here, is that what was done to you was not correct, and it will be taken care of. I know, I have faith that it will be, because you're a strong person, and I know it's going to be taken care of. But one of the things that I have to say is when I listen to everybody make their speeches, if people don't want to be free, they're not going to be free. As Harriet Tubman said very eloquently, I freed thousands of slaves, but I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Yes. Right here, please.
I heard everybody talk about the checks and the money they send, but I don't do a whole lot of broadcasting what I do. I just do what I do. And this is from me.
Yeah, all right.
And that's for me right now. And you know my phone number, and anything you need, if you need something, pick up the phone and call me. All right.
A few more speakers. He had a fraternity brother who wanted to speak.
Hello, King Salim, former Lion brother, Virginia Union University, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Zeta chapter. I was #1 online We had 18 guys on line. The line was from shortest to tallest. I was number 1, and I was 19 years old at the time. Like I say, we had 18, and he was number 16. I knew that. He had me back then in fall '81, and based on what I heard about his work in the NAACP, he has had the back of everybody in Virginia since then. And I want to congratulate you on your work, Lion Bro. And our fraternity is based on 4 cardinal principles: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. I think you have remarkably embodied all of those principles. Thank you, brother.
Are you coming up?
This lady was speaking. I don't even need the mic. I don't need it. Today I am here with some very
I'm sorry.
friends. They can't hear? Well, all right. I am a little hoarse today, but normally I don't need near mic. Today I'm here with 2 representatives of the African Ancestral Chamber. And it would take me really too long to go over what this brother means to me. A lot has been said about him, and I don't need to repeat it. But we have a proclamation that we're presenting to Brother King Salim. And it reads, "Proclamation in honor of King Salim Khalfani. King Salim Khalfani, as Executive Director of the Virginia State Conference, NAACP, for 23 years, has shown exemplary leadership skills. Ashe. King Salim Khalfani has demonstrated unrelenting dedication, right to say lavication, and commitment to the struggle to uplift African people. Ashe. King Salim Khalfani has honored and respected the value of African life. By his words and deeds, he connected the dots. Ashe. King Salim Khalfani has blazed the trail to ensure a better future for African children and all generations at home and in the diaspora. Ashe. Be it resolved that in his honor this day be known in perpetuity as go hard or go home.
Thank you very much.
Testimony and how he's elevated me within 2 minutes. And as simple as this, he is a person of integrity. He can't intimidate you. He intimidated me. I was fine. Didn't want to get up in this stuff. But what he did was he made you look at your gift in order for you to see how you can use your gift to better man. See, that's what God always telling us. But he intimidated me because we're here talking, and Scripture said, "Who do men say I am?" All y'all have spoken of what man said and who man said he is. Jesus stood before the same folks. He wasn't received. So what makes us think that Brother King gonna be received? But the glory is the persecution. Because the persecution lets you know the impact that you have on people in their lives. And you've truly touched my family. I gave $200. Brother Saul said, "You're going to speak, make sure you pay." I just want to know, I'll pay. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the love and the nourishing that he does. He allows you to grow, but he's a stern father figure. But no, he ain't nothing but, as you said, he's just a baby. But we need that discipline. We need that structure. And that's what he brought to me and allowing me to grow in whatever way that I'm growing. And however way I'm intimidating and attacking folks, it's because of him. But he showed us, one more minute, he showed us that the way is the law. The law has always carried the day for us. When we were citizens and didn't know it for over 100 years, it was the law. So he has shown us that it is the law. Let's use that law in his for-profit business, work with him, and we're going to get that final economic empowerment.
Thank you.
I come as a brother of King Salim and appreciate all that he's done, and I just wish to share one of the Magna Cartas of our experiences together. It says, if you can keep your head when all men about you, keep your head about you when, sorry, brother. Sorry, brother. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait, not be tired about waiting, or loud about don't deal in lies, or hate it, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. You can dream, not make dreams your master. You can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings, but never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart, nerve, and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds, keep your virtue, nor walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, that neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men can count on you, but none too much. You can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, he says, I'll say, you are a man, my son.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, please. Thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon. I'm also a brother of Brother King. And we met about 12 years ago when I moved back to Virginia, became active in the NAACP. And I'm sure, as most of you know, the one voice we could depend on who would be standing through ice, snow, rain, hail would be Salim. And I would always say to him, how come you alone? He said, no one will join me. And so for this, I would like to recite another poem for you, Invictus, which the Q brothers here are quite familiar with. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced or cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but alive. Beyond this place of wrath and tears, looms but the horror of the shade. Yet the minutes of the years find and shall find me unafraid.
Thank you. What a way to bring folks together. That sounded really nice. Come on, sir.
Good evening. My name is L.J. McCoy. I'm the president of the Chesterfield branch NAACP. Now, I'm going to do one of these things right here. We're going to keep it real like Al Sharpton said. Salim and I, we've had our difficulties. I mean, we went to a point where we weren't speaking to each other for a while. But that's a personal thing. One thing about this man right here, even when we were going through some of those changes, we were still going up to the Supreme Court, didn't we? We were going to the Supreme Court for the same cause. And for that same cause, we, the Chesterfield branch, even though I wrote the check, it's from all of us. Thank you, Salim, for all that you've done.
Thank you so much for respecting the time. Next speaker.
You are asking me to do something very impossible, and that is to sum up the way that I feel, the sharing of the impact that my revolutionary ideological father has had on my life in a minute and a half. I can't do that. What I can do is do my best to share what that impact has meant to me artistically in the way that I know best by sharing one of my poems. And I will attempt to curtail it as best possible to meet the time frame. You are dead to me, essentially non-existent, molded from the cosmic conscience of nothingness, where nothing was everything, and everything was dark matter. See, you have always mattered since before the beginning. Go backward in time. An infinite reflection of God's mirror, fashioned of night, reflecting infinitely into the deep. Your deep melanin-rich skin becomes you, arisen from the soil, more precious than metal or gem. Long before Jim Crow gained appetite for your humanity, humanity relied on you for its survival, both then and now. And now, you use the N-word like a passport back to our enslavement, somehow sentient its acceptance endearingly. Yet the reality, since its earliest documented usage in 1624, was used as no more than a means to separate us from our acknowledgement of ourselves as human beings, and being that there's money to be made off having you behave like less than your worth, any stock in your identity has become worth less on the global exchange of respect. Look again. Internalize the vision of how others see you and hold it in high regard, regardless of how name brands burn so nicely into your flesh, regardless of how they expect to fill prison based on our baby's third-grade test scores, regardless of how much more they disrespect her in the song, the movie, the TV show. You don't see the scandal. Your daughter, they've got bands to make her dance in the middle of convenience stores for 2 minutes of YouTube fame. Regardless of how the world aims to disrespect every contribution, worshiping tribute to the call of world history rewritten without you. Did not you know that your existence is synonymous with time? Remembered like Michael Jackson spinning into dust, a fairy tale swept not so neatly beneath the carpet's corner. We still hustling on corners trying to find the right angle to survive. We ain't even trying to survive, we just want to get by. We ain't even trying to get by, we just want to get high, get drunk, turn up another statistic. It doesn't matter, pick one, your favorite social injustice or public health disparity. We run that from poverty to HIV, and we don't see the correlation. A nation of walking dead, just as the N-word's origin implies. Despite how free we think we are. See, freedom never granted anyone the right to roam the earth in arrogance and reckless behavior. I know some of y'all still waiting for Obama to save you. Warning, be careful not to bite the hand that feeds you campaign dollars. Their fingers are scorpion tails, dangling self-adhesive puppet strings. Just label them terrorists, no one will question. Just call them the N-word, no one will care. Like Saddam, like Osama, like Gaddafi, like Assad. And wait, I just gotta ask, since when did the occupations of rapper and R&B singer become classified enough to break federal travel bans? It's far more than a matter of circumstance. It's history proven. See, you've been the targets of acts of genocide far longer than this country's founding fathers' pursuit of manifest destiny. Trust me, Gaddafi in no way posed the kind of threat Columbus posed to our people. Those ancestors whose resistance and perseverance preserved our identity. They built monoliths in your image so the world would forever see the face of God. It's hard to deny the truth when the books are written in stone. Just in case you forgot. Just in case you forgot that you forgot. Just in case you fell victim to enemy plot and found ourselves behind enemy lines, we would know, people, that we are not niggers and will not die out before our time.
Amen. Wow. Well, we thank you for that. We thank you for that. We thank you for that. Next speaker.
How you doing, my brother? Love you so much. So many different reasons. We'll share all of them today in this minute. My name is Greg Neville. A product of the city of Richmond. Went to Richmond City Schools. Went to Virginia Union. Played point guard there when a guy named Charles Oakley was there. We were champions then. And we're champions now. And one of the things I want to talk about is my camp that I have every year. It's a free basketball camp. We have 300 kids out of the city of Richmond come scot-free. The reason for that camp is I grew up in Gifford Court, and I couldn't ask my mom for money for a basketball camp because she had 10 other kids. right? So it would have been very, very sad. So I went on down Calhoun Center, made it to Virginia Union playing basketball. A lot of other things happened in my life since then. But one of the greatest things that happened in my life is my reconnection with this brother right here. To keep it short, to keep it real short, in our camp, we always say we want to transform the inner city by transforming the inner man that lives inside of our kids. And I'm one of those kids. I needed some transformation in my life, and my community helped me. I didn't have to pay to play basketball. I didn't have to pay to get a life skill. Didn't want nobody to put me to the side and tell me, sit down, Ray. Didn't have to pay for that. So our kids, all of your kids right now is welcome in the spirit of this brother to our camp for free. And our camp is a small token of what I would like to do for the city of Richmond if given the opportunity, man. And I'm telling you, I called him this is our 6th year coming up July the 14th through the 18th, but in the 2nd year of our camp, I called on this brother because I see that our kids needed some life skills. And I knew I couldn't do it all by myself, and it's hard to get people to do stuff for free. So I went to this brother and I told him what I was doing. First, he was glad that I was doing it. He was about to cry that I was doing it. And I looked at him, said, that's good, all the emotions is good, but let's go to the Calhoun Center, man, if you can see what I'm talking about, man. By the time we got over there, he left. He said, I got to come right back, Ray. He came back, he had a whole book of our culture, man. He had a whole video of all the lynchings. Yeah, the lynchings and everything was talked about. It's a basketball camp, but we need to let people know where it came from. So we took that time, like I'm taking this time right now. I wish I could have brought all the kids from the last 5 years from my camp here, man. I have them standing up there. All of them know him, they love him for being the black man that he is. And he's not a racist. I want to tell y'all that, because white kids go to my camp too. There's some white poor people in the world, in case we know that. And they come to our camp for free. And they eat the same food we eat that somebody volunteer gave us. All of this stuff is from the spirit of this brother. I met him at Virginia Union University, man. He running around like a cute dog. I was a freshman. And I was scared of him. Man. He had a revolutionary mind then, and I was a little Jim Crow'd out back then, but I got it now.
Thank you very much. Next we have Mr. Joe Lawrence, who would like to speak. Thank you so much. So much passion in this room. We have Mr. Joe Lawrence. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to apologize for being underdressed. I'm taking my baby daughter and her brother to Jumpology right after this, and they're getting a little antsy right now. And also, I apologize for my appearance. Saad asked me earlier, he says, Joe, have you ever considered suing your legs for support? Don't make fun of my legs. Let me share a couple of things, and then I'm going to move along. We've heard a lot about my friend King, who I've known for almost 20 years. Let me just tell you a few substantive things that people may not be aware of. When the plumbers and steam fitters weren't getting paid what they were owed, there was a person who took the lead.
Yes, that's right.
This man. Got him over $1 million and raised that issue to the forefront. And then this is the individual that led the fight down at the Juvenile Justice Center when they saw that those children weren't getting a home that they needed. And the services that were required. It was it was my friend King. And then Saad and King, when they saw what was being desecrated, covered over by a paving lot by VCU, it was this gentleman, Saad, that led the fight to do that. And that's an applause line. And King, we've missed you down at the General Assembly this year because there's 400,000 people in Virginia that don't have health insurance because there's people like you that aren't down there. Keep up the fight, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next speaker.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Melcourt, and I've been knowing Brother Salim 25 plus years. When I was a young NAACPer, came up here to Richmond to a conference, and me and him connected, and we've been friends ever since. And he shared a lot of good moments with me and bad moments. From the time the good moment when I got married, he was one of my groomsmen in the wedding, to the time my mother passed, and he was there at the funeral of the pallbearer and got me through it. We worked a whole lot. This NAACP thing, from national security to riding out west to where the Ku Klux Klan had wrote all on the house out there in the west side of, what was that, Gucci. We went out there at night. And so, you know, I know what he's done. He's a strong brother, and I just wanted to get up here and say that I love you, man. For everything you've done for the organization, for being there for me during my hard times and my good times. I thank you, brother.
Thank you for respecting the time. Next speaker. Okay, 1 minute. First speaker at this point.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dawn Page, and I want to say thank you to Salim for everything, for all of your support throughout the years. I met Salim back in 2005 when I was PTA president at John B. Carey Elementary School. And we were in a good fight, a fight for social and educational injustice. Salim has always been there, standing beside us, fighting for equality, educational equality. I served as chair of the Richmond City School Board, and Salim was right there with us as well. I just want to thank you for all of your hard work and for everything that you have done and that you will continue to do for social, economic empowerment for everyone. And education is the new civil rights. Quality education for all of us. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. We're doing good. Next speaker, please. 1 minute.
I'm Sylvia Wood, the president of the Richmond Branch NAACP. Our former president resigned, so I was vice president, so I'm in this position again. But Salim, my brother, people don't know, we almost got killed together. We were doing civil rights, doing training for the branch in Newport News, and I was trying to get home to my husband's chicken because he makes some good chicken. So anyway, we left, came back to Richmond, and the traffic backed up, and all of a sudden something happened. All I know, did we flip? We flipped 4 times. So people don't know that. So so we have had, now we had our ups and downs, because he knows I'm feisty, and he's feisty too, but I can handle him. But on behalf of the Richmond Branch NAACP, this is just something, and I don't know if I should give it to you, but it's written to you. Oh, okay. So I'm going to give it to them, but you better give it to him, okay? Because our branch, look, we strike for money too, but I said, we had to give him some, because he says a lot for the NAACP Richmond, and we want to give a part of that to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all contributions. Next speaker, we have Mr. Howard, we call him Howard.
Good evening. I go back with Salim to when I was a freshman at Virginia Union. I'm a member of another fraternity, but we all stand for the same thing. And somebody said that you have to use your gifts that God gave you to get your message out. Well, from that video, my gift is behind the camera. And whenever I was at an event that was controversial, I always knew Salim was going to be there. So I made it my business to use my gift to make sure that he was on your TV screen to get the message out to those who could not be there. So I just want to say thank you, my brother, for 25 years of unbelievable friendship, for all your courage, and everything that you have done for every last one of us in this room. And I will continue to put you on TV every chance I get.
Thank you, Howard. He was the one responsible for the little video clips, and he's from Channel 8. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Harold Moss. I met Mr. Khalfani at our local meeting at the Chesterfield NAACP branch. I was an investigator in the post office, an EEO investigator for many years. And I made the mistake of putting in for a job as a supervisor of letter carriers. What happened is your mail, okay, is being delayed every day. And what supervisors were doing is riding around in their cars, they would hide it, etc. So I'm going to try to make this brief. I did not want to do that because I knew if you got caught, they would fire you. Or they'll say they don't know anything about it, they don't know you, etc. So anyway, no one would help me. My colleague said, look, we got your back, but behind the curtains. So I talked to Mr. Khalfani about this. He says, listen, we both agreed we needed to take that out of the post office. He said, we're going to call a news conference. I said, okay, great. He says, do you have any followers? I said, well, again, the supervisor in the post office said they got me, but they're not going to come, publicly. So anyway, make a long story short, we had family, friends, folks from my church came, and of course, Mr. Khalfani spoke. And that actually helped me because they backed off. The point is, though, I didn't get promoted. They didn't promote me. During the news conference, a TV personality said to Mr. Khalfani, why would you take on an issue like that? And eloquently, he responded, and I think I'm paraphrasing. He said, injustice is injustice. And I want to say to you, Mr. Khalfani, again, we were able to bring that to the public, and it did help, although someone told me the post office has long pockets. So my lawyer was paid off, the judge threw the case out. But again, this man took that case on, he took it on like it was his own, and he reminds me of a person who walks through a minefield and he just keeps focused. Bombs go off all around him, it doesn't mean nothing. And he's always said to me, I don't worry about the peripheral things. He says, Harold, I'm not trying to step on toes, I got a mission. And I have the utmost respect for this man. When he's on a mission, again, he's not stepping on toes, don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but he's going to do what he set out to do. And I told him, I'm indebted to you for life. And I mean that, my brothers.
Thank you. Marty?
How they tell a politician you got 1 minute? Give a brother a break. I just want to say real quickly, this man's got more integrity and courage in one finger than most people have. The courage it took to work like a dog with one hand tied behind his back, no money in the treasury, no staff, taking risks, but even more than that, I can't stand injustice, and I know he can't either. We love justice. For him to absorb the pain of people coming to him day in and day out and laying their trouble on him and having to absorb that pain, I mean, that in and of itself will wear any of us down. And in fact, he got worn down. Bernice had to get him to the doctor. His health was going bad, and he didn't even know it. And so, I'll cut this real short. We love you, brother, and we need you around for much longer.
Thank you, Next speaker.
How are you? My name is Ilya Davis. I go way back with this brother. Back when he was showing off, grabbing the limb. During that time, I was showing off too in the street, doing crazy things. I was on African Perspective. That was my first consciousness with him and Brother Lee Robinson. I went away for 14 years. This brother stayed in the streets doing the things that were necessary. So just real quick, I'm gonna stop right here because I understand how important it is. In order for you to be strong, you have to have that comfort. So through you, I want to just give you 3 things for your wife. This right here is amethyst. And this right here represents the majesty and my appreciation for her. This is why I wanted to wear this. That's amethyst and crystal. These are the earrings. Because in order for him to do the things that he
he has done and he is doing. She has to pay close attention. I know she's heard a lot of it. So I want to be able to give her the earrings to match it. And then the last piece is this ring. And it's amethyst and sterling silver also. The reason why I give her this through you, brother, is because I want you to know that the struggle that you've been through, that understand that somebody coming behind you, brother, this is a signet ring for her. For me to make a pledge that your sacrifices, brother, are not in vain. That's right. And I'm not doing it by words. I'm going to do it in the streets as you have. Thank you, brother.
Wow, thank you so much. How thoughtful. Behind every good man is a good woman. Here we go. One more. We have our last speaker coming up.
Good afternoon. Let me give a hug in first because after I talk, he may not hug me after. Salim and I have known each other for a long time. When he was at Virginia Union, I was at Virginia State. Neither one of us could play basketball, so he was a statistician, and I was helping out as well with the basketball team on 2 different sides. And we're like brothers. We fight, we fuss, we talk on the phone, we text each other late at night sometimes, but he is the truth. And the thing I love about Salim is different than what most of you all love. I love the Salim who's a great writer. If you've ever seen anything this brother has written, it is just, it touches your core when you read it. You know, he speaks to me all the time, and late at night he sends me these crazy messages, and I have to fire something back at him. And then I said, dude, why don't you just start publishing books? Leave me alone. Just start writing your books. But a couple of stories I would like to tell you. One serious, and the other one's somewhat funny. It talks about our relationship. One is Salim single-handedly stopped Confederacy Month. I got a call from McDonald's office, and he was doing this whole proclamation on Confederacy. They hadn't returned Salim's call, my call, anybody's call for months. Call Salim. He said, I'm over at China Club right now, about to do a press conference. I said, let's go to the governor's mansion. Let's just stop all of it right now. We met him at Channel 12, went to the governor's mansion, and he told him, first of all, why didn't y'all call me back in 9 months? What's going on? You know, before I talk about anything else, I want to know how you respected me and respected who I stand for. And they had nothing to say. And he said, so why should I sit here and listen to you all tell me another lie? At the table. And he's always stood at the table for black contractors, black businesses on a regular basis, every single day. And I'm here to say that for all of you, he's done a wonderful job. Now, here's the funny story. One day he gets mad at me, and he is ticked off at me to the hilt. And he is talking trash. So I go over to the office, because he and I have this thing about seeing each other face to face. So I go over to the office, the door is locked, and he is on the telephone. Wait till I get to Ken Johnson. Hey, Ken Johnson, I can't wait to see him. I'm knocking on the door. He's on the phone for 20 minutes. I'm outside the door. He says, come in. Finally, I walk in. Come on, brother, let's work all this out. We can work this out right now. I know you just talking about me for 20 minutes. I know you out there. I love you, brother. I appreciate all you've done, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the passionate speakers. I also have a letter here from the County of Henrico to King Salim Khalfani. Dear Salim, as you well know, I have been over the years, let me start over. As you well know, I have been over the years and am presently one of your ardent supporters. I am happy that you are being honored today for your unselfish work in the community on behalf of the NAACP for many years promoting social justice, civil rights, and racial equality. Today is truly your flower day. You have earned it. You have certainly, in my opinion, worked so very hard for the improvement of the little guy and the downtrodden. You have my profound esteem and the servant citizen. You have my profound esteem as a servant citizen. You also personify very well the statement of Frederick Douglass when he said, there is no progress without struggle. Keep up the good work in the future, as I know that you will. This is from Frank Thornton, Vice Chairman in County of Henrico. Okay, next we will have a song, and then we will move right into responses by King Salim Khalfani. Again, I thank you all for your patience. And next we'll have a song by Jeffrey Gould, a dear friend of mine.
again. I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exception. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did my way. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it all and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, oh no, not me. I did it my way. What has he got if not himself? And he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who needs. For it shows I took the blows and did it my
Have King Salim Khalfani at this time. I love you, King.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it all. If I got into calling out individuals and organizations, I would probably make a mistake. And so I want to thank everyone who is here on my behalf as you travel from Warren Page, Charlottesville, Albemarle, or right down the street. I want to say Asante Sana, thank you very much. This has been a great deal to me. I'm so accustomed to giving honors that I said today I was going to put my tux on for my own. And I'm very, very, very humbled and grateful, and I appreciate your patience. Those who know me and how I organize, that I'm a stickler for time, and we don't ever want to keep the people longer than necessary. So again, one of the greatest crimes in African culture is to be ungrateful. And I am very grateful to the committee, especially to Reverend Hunter, who called me and asked me if he could do something for me. Of course, I said no, but he didn't listen. And I'm very thankful for all the gifts and everything, all the hard work. There's the folks who've been laboring on my behalf, and I'm very grateful. I could go on in perpetuity, but I won't do that because everyone else has spoken for me. So from the inner parts and outer parts and the side parts of my heart and my mind, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. King Salim Khalfani, we definitely honor you. Let's give him a round of applause. He's so much for so many. At this time, the total count was $3,398 and $75 in fees and gift cards. And we have another one. Okay, so we are at
Mary Sylvia Easter, who did 44 years in the Virginia State Conference as office manager and secretary. And whenever she comes around, I start crying, so I'm not going to keep her around long, but she was the backbone of all we were able to do. You know, we used to have 4, and then there were 3, and there were 2, and in 2011, she broke camp. And so those last 2.5 years were really rough. And I would go in 5 in the morning, go home, get my children to school, come back, go home, feed my children, and all, come back at night, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and look what I got. You know? So, you know, it's all good. I don't give apologies, and I don't accept them because people do what they mean to do. And so, all I can say is I'm a well-trained fighter. You notice I've not said a thing publicly because, you know, I could do a whole lot of damage, but that's not my forte. I got class, and as everyone said, integrity, so we won't do that. But I want to say thank you to Mary Sylvia Duncan Easter, because she put in work 44 years. And so I don't know how they're going to figure things out because everything is under her system. I used to call her every day, asking where things were and how to get it done. But she has been the backbone. She and Peyton Harris, who did 44 years, and she retired in 2001 and became an ancestor shortly thereafter. So we had a good run, and I thank you for teaching me and being humble with me. And she knows all the dirt. So when she does her book, we all better watch out. But I want to say a special thanks to her. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you've done and said for me today. Thank you.
It's not over. You hear that good echo. This is the beginning. And we know that this work is tireless, and we thank all of you for all that you do in your areas. Each one of us need to continue to be strong and represent every day, all day, in what you do, because all the little things that you do are the things you turn your cheek and don't pay attention to, or act like you don't see it, it hurts all of us. And that's more work for our next brother and sister. So we all got to step up and represent daily. At this time, I'd like to introduce the committee that I was so honored to work with. We have the chair, Ms. Bernice Travers. If you come up. We also have Salim, the co-chair. Come on up, Salim. Everybody come up. We have Warren. Warren's here. And we also have Reverend Hunter. And myself, Terry Dysick. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I'm sorry, Cheryl did everything. She did the chicken, she organized, the sent email. Cheryl was jack of all trades. Is she here? She's still downstairs?
You all did a great job.
Thank you. And Cheryl is here. She's a little one running around, and she did everything. Every time I turned the corner, Cheryl did on the computer, at the mailbox, at the bank, or back in the kitchen. So this is the committee, and we are so grateful that you came along and came on board. We don't need a whole lot to say I love you. We don't need a tsunami to come together. So this is beautiful. Continue to work hard together and continue to honor him in ways that you can. And also, at this time, oh, there she is. Round of applause. She did all the cooking and stuff. But this is the committee. This is, again, just a seed. It's just one event. If there are others who would like to do something, by all means, this is just one event. There are many others who have spoken of things they would like to do on behalf of King Salim Khalfani. That is perfectly fine. Don't let this be the end. Again, this is the beginning, not just for King Salim, but for all of us. Sir, did you have a question?
Yes, what is next for the king?
He's going to keep doing what he do best. You do what you do, right?
Well, I formed a company. Well, I always had KSK Consultants, but in September 2013, Commonwealth Consultation, LLC, which is a consulting company that deals with mental health, procurement, supplier diversity, human and civil rights, etc. I can be reached at 804-972-2525. My email address is thesuten, S-U-T-E-N, which means king, at gmail.com. I've still been working, and I'm just doing it a little differently now. Oh, and my book, we're going to have our book signing. The book is called I Dare You, The Things Negroes Do, Showing Off. It's a satirical book, and Dante Hawley and I tell our own stories about our failed attempts at showing off. One of the ones I wrote was, I fought a tree and lost. And I wanted to show off for my family in Birmingham, Alabama. My cousin talked about how strong and good I was. He said, jump up in that tree and break that limb. And so I wanted to show off. I jumped up in the tree limb snapped, gave me a concussive blow to the head, twisted knee, scraped elbows, and I have a permanent tree mark right here. I was 53 years old, still having the need to show off. You can purchase the book from me personally, but we're going to have a book signing and a promo film. I've sent it to almost everyone already. But on Monday, July 28th, place to be announced. And, you know, when you show off, you get toe off. That's the theme of the book. And we spend inordinate amounts of money and resources, like at the CIAA tournament. We walk around in a circle for 4 hours for 4 days in new shoes, feet hurting, but we want to show off. Even some wear fur coats, whether it was in Raleigh, Winston-Salem, or Charlotte. It's 60 degrees, but we're wearing fur coats so we can show off. When you show off, you get toe off. And so you'll get more information again, and thank you all so much. I am very humbled. Well,
Salim, congratulations, man. As you know, when we met, I was going through some things at the post office, and you helped me out. I'll never forget it, brother. And I'm indebted to you for life. So I'm wishing you the best in your future endeavors. Peace.
Congratulations, King Salim. You know I'm your #1 fan, and I wish you the very best. And anything that I can do, hey, be there for you.
Salim, I wish you the best of everything. You were always there when I needed you as president of the Chesterfield branch of the NAACP. So good luck on everything you do from now on. And I'll talk to you later.
King, SK, I come from Atlanta and I come from Washington, D.C. I come to congratulate you on a wonderful term, and we hope that the torch steady burns in your name. Thank you very much. Peace now.
King Salim, it has always been a pleasure and an honor to be in your company and to have known you. Wherever it is that you will go, we will have lost a good person. And your endeavors will be as far as you would like for them to go, and it will be of excellence. Thank you.
Hello, King. We're glad to see you, and we congratulate you on this day here this day. And this is just so sorry to see that you're not to be with us in our endeavor and fighting for justice. You've done a great work in this county and for Hanover County for sure. And not only for Hanover, but for the state of Virginia. Again, we wish you Godspeed and hope you much success.
How you doing, Brother King? This is Earl Bradley, letting you know that I love you, my family love you. Sometimes words can't explain what and how you touch folks, but you do need to know that you have touched us. You've heard me once said this when I spoke of George Owens. When you see him, you see me. I feel that towards you. When they see you, they see me, because your integrity, your stances in life, we are in one accord. Take care and stay blessed.
Brother Salim, I can't say enough about the fine job you've done over the years, and even today, it might be a culmination of your service. I'm just here to tell you, man, that this is just the beginning of a bigger job that God has for you. Because if we ever needed you before, we need you now. There are a lot of things going wrong in this town right here, and we need more people like you. God bless you. Heaven smile upon you. You know where to find me, and I know where to find you. Peace.
Brother Salim, it is an honor for me to come here to see you get some sort of recognition today. I want to thank you as a board member, national board member of the NAACP. I want to thank you for all of the work that you've done over the years. You definitely have made a difference, my brother, and that is why we do what we do, trying to make a difference, trying to level the playing field for all minorities. You have done a job, and like they say, your work really speaks for you. So to you today, I tip my hat, and God bless you, and good speed.
Thank you, Salim, for all that you've done for the community of Richmond. I've appreciated being able to march with you many, many times, and I'm looking forward to doing that in the future. Thank you.
I've been friends with Salim for at least 25 years, and I've kind of followed his path, and I've been so proud to know him and the things that he's doing and all of his accomplishments, and I've always been very supportive, and I'm glad that this event is happening because he needs to be honored.
To my man, my brother, King Salim, you know, we go back to Union days. I know I go back with you to your government name, so we got a long history, and you know, in our alma mater it says that Union sends out its majestic rays of light throughout the land, but some of us had to stay at home. So the fact that you were here and I'm here, I think there was a reason for both of us staying right here in Richmond, man. I appreciate everything that you've ever done to help the city of Richmond, to help unionize, and just to help people here in the city of Richmond, man. Love you for everything that you've done, and you know, we keep doing what we do, man. Appreciate you.
I just want to say it's a beautiful thing to celebrate King Salim. He's done a great job. He's helped a lot of people, and it's just our way just to say thank you. So it's just a pleasure to honor him on today. Sometimes servants don't get their due, so we want to honor those who deserve it. So thank you for letting me say that for our brother King Salim Khalfani. Okay?
Thank you, sir. I am so glad to be here today as you are being honored, and I want to simply say to you, Madase Pa, Madase Pa, Madase Pa, I honor you with all that is within me for all that you have done for African people. We are so much better for having had you here with us. And so I give thanks for a moment
moment like today because you are able to see and hear all that you mean to those who really truly have been impacted by you and who care about you. So just know that as you move forward, it is not over, but it doesn't have to be a struggle. We love you. Madasi, Madasi, Madasi.
Hello, Salim, it's Andrea. Just want to say I love you and have a wonderful reception.
This is a very fitting recognition of a brother who well deserves this group hug that we're giving him today. Fighting for justice in the most vigorous way for so many years, with one hand tied behind his back, poorly funded, no help, and scorned by many. Yet he persevered, has helped so many.
Thank you, brother King Salim, for keeping me on course.
Salim, I am so proud of you. I'm so glad that we are having this event for you. I think it is well worth the cause, and I thank you for all that you have done and all that you're going to do, as we know that this is also a beginning. God bless you.
We'd like to salute Brother Salim for a job well done. One of the things I can say about the brother is that he's truly a good example for future youth from out there. So when we're talking about the role of leadership and representing the interests of the people, never defray from that position. He's always been a good example of a serious fighter, taking on serious issues and trying to raise the consciousness of our people. And through that extent, history will always remember him. And for me, we have had the opportunity to work at least over 25 years together. And we will continue to work together in order to alleviate something for our people throughout the world. So for tonight, our salute and hat goes off to our brother Salim for a job well done.
And the sun